Speaking Task 1. You will be asked a question about a familiar topic. You will then have 15 seconds to prepare your response, and 45 seconds to speak.
Do you prefer learning subjects more theoretically or with more practical applications? Offer specific reasons to uphold your preference.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
I lean towards learning with more practical applications. In my perspective, applying theories into practice not only improves understanding of the subject matter, but also instills problem-solving skills that can be transferred to real-life situations. Practical application makes learning more engaging and relatable as well. That being said, the theoretical knowledge provides a necessary foundation and structure for practical applications, and thus shouldn't be neglected.
Speaking Task 2. You will read a short paragraph and then listen to a conversation between two people. You will have 50 seconds to read the paragraph. After, you will get a question about what you read and heard. You will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. You have 50 seconds to read. Start reading after the beep. Now listen to the conversation between two people.
This is a bad move from the chemistry department. I can't believe they are going to spend school funding like this.
Why would you say that?
Have you seen the outdated equipment in the chemistry department? Most of it is older than I am. If the department has so much extra money, they should spend it on updating the chemistry equipment before pushing for more students. I mean, think about it. Most companies use updated equipment, so how do they expect us to compete for positions when we're accustomed to using outdated equipment? We're going to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, you're right. I never thought about that. We will need to know how to use the latest equipment in the chemistry field for our future careers.
Exactly. Also, I think they should consider spending money on current students who are actually working hard and not try to lure in potential students. I know a lot of my friends are studying hard. Even though they are not getting an average grade of 90%, they are still getting good grades in chemistry. I think the chemistry department should award them, like giving them a bonus or something.
That's true. You make a good point. It would be great if my hard work was rewarded.
The woman expresses her opinion about the announcement. State her opinion and explain the reasons that she gives for holding that opinion.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
The woman's opinion is that the chemistry department should prioritize updating their outdated equipment instead of spending school funding on scholarships. She believes that having outdated equipment puts students at a disadvantage when competing for positions in the industry, as most companies use updated equipment. She argues that it is important for students to be familiar with the latest equipment in order to succeed in their future careers. Additionally, she suggests that the department should consider rewarding current students who are already working hard, rather than focusing on attracting potential students. She believes that students who are achieving good grades in chemistry should be acknowledged and rewarded for their efforts. The woman believes that these changes would be more beneficial for the department and its students.
Speaking Task 3. You will read a short paragraph about an academic topic, then listen to a lecture about it. You will have 50 seconds to read the paragraph. After, you will get a question about what you read and heard. You will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. You have 50 seconds to read. Start reading after the beep. Now listen to the lecture.
So, whenever I think about this concept, I am immediately reminded of my grandfather's shoe factory back in my hometown. While my grandfather's company made quality custom shoes, he struggled for most of his life to make it a success. However, when my father graduated from college, he went into the family business and joined my grandfather in the shoe factory. He noticed that other companies would often use scarcity marketing in their advertisements. For example, he would see expressions like limited time offer on these products, and one day he decided to use a similar tactic to sell shoes from the factory. Apparently, my grandfather wasn't sure at first, but eventually my father wore him down and he took over the shoe company's marketing department. The first new ad my father released simply said, "American-made boots, limited stock available." In the years prior, my grandfather sold less than 500 pairs of these boots every year. But thanks to my father's scarcity marketing approach, that one simple line, "limited stock available," led to sales of over 50,000 shoes that year. After that, my father and grandfather continued with this advertising plan, and the company grew into an empire. That is the power of scarcity marketing.
Explain how the example from the lecture illustrates the concept of scarcity marketing.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
Scarcity marketing is the idea that some consumers buy things just because they want to be one of the only people to own it, and so in response, companies will advertise their products in a manner that makes them seem like they are rare. The lecturer delves deeper into scarcity marketing by providing an example from his personal life. He tells the story of his grandfather's shoe factory. When his father joined the family business, he wanted to use the scarcity marketing techniques he noticed were being used by other businesses.
He was able to convince the grandfather to release an ad for boots that said there were only a few boots available. Because of this, the boot sales increased dramatically, from just 500 pairs in a year to over 50,000. If I ever own a company, I will definitely use scarcity marketing to advertise my product.
You will listen to a lecture about an academic topic. After, you will get a question about what you heard. You will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. Now listen to the lecture.
Even though it's cold and snow-covered, the Arctic houses many species of animals that manage to survive the harsh conditions there. These Arctic animals have adapted to the extremely cold temperatures, primarily because of certain body features that help them to survive in the cold Arctic climate. Let's look at a few of them. For one thing, many Arctic animals have developed a protective covering on their feet. The covering usually consists of fur or feathers, which act as a protective layer between the cold and the animal's skin. Since they spend so much of their time on snowy, icy surfaces, whether they're standing on the ground or swimming in the water, they can easily lose heat through their feet. This is especially true of Arctic birds. A bird like the Arctic snowy owl, for example, has feathers on its body the way other birds do. But unlike most birds, it also has feathers all over its feet. This shields and protects the feet from the icy ground, so that very little of the owl's foot actually touches snowy or icy surfaces, which helps its feet to stay warm. Another physical characteristic that some Arctic animals share is having smaller bodies and smaller, shorter body parts. In other words, their bodies are often more compact than other animals, and the parts of their bodies that stick out or protrude, like the legs, ears, or tails, are smaller and shorter. And the result is that there is less body surface exposed to the cold air. A great example is the Arctic wolf. Unlike the larger gray wolves that live in warmer climates, Arctic wolves have relatively small, compact bodies that efficiently retain heat. They also have smaller ears and shorter legs, so they lose less body heat than animals with larger bodies or longer body parts. And in a climate where the temperature is below zero most of the year, that's very important.
Using the example of the owl and the wolf, explain how two special body features have helped Arctic animals adapt to the cold.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
The Arctic animals, like the snowy owl and the Arctic wolf, have special body features that help them survive in the extreme cold. The snowy owl has feathers all over its feet to protect them from the icy ground, keeping them warm. This way, very little of the owl's foot touches the cold surface. Similarly, the Arctic wolf has a smaller, compact body with smaller ears and shorter legs, which helps retain heat and prevent heat loss. These special features allow these animals to adapt to the cold Arctic climate and thrive in the harsh conditions. They are able to stay warm and survive in a place where the temperature is below zero most of the year.